I would like to introduce our keynote speaker of the day. So dear students, here we go. Mr. Joseph Jude is a business technologist who works with CXOs to solve their business problems. He is interested in business of technology and technology of business. Mr. Joseph Jude is currently serving as Chief Technical Officer of an IT service at Chandigarh to accelerate their digital offering. Previously, Mr. Jude architected e-governance system for LLP Act India and also oversaw transitions of India's premier e-governance project, MCA 21. So, sir, a very warm welcome and thank you for being a part, and we are eager to listen to you, sir. Over to you, Mr. Joseph Jude.
Thank you very much for everybody. Thanks, Hitesh, for coordinating and organizing this particular meeting. Thanks, Madam, for introducing me. And thanks, Toy, for having me. I'm going to present my screen. Let me know when you see my screen. Do you see experience economy?
Yes, sir, we can, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the next phase in the economy, progression of economy, which is experience economy, and how we can be ready and how we are already seeing certain trends towards this particular economic cycle. Now, if we see the progression of economic value so far, we started with commodities. It could be flour, it could be a seed, coffee bean, a commodity. We extract it out of the earth and then we manufacture a product. Now this commodity is available everywhere. You don't differentiate. So, but you make a product out of it. Maybe a coffee, maybe a tea, maybe a car. You make a product out of these commodities. And then in the industrial area, industrial times, the manufacturing of product was very much, it was the time. But then later we moved on to services. India thrived on services, right? So we take the product, whatever the product could be, and we deliver services on top of that particular product. So we are customizing that particular product to a certain extent to deliver the services. India, as I said, like outsourcing is nothing but services. Indian IT industry is full of outsourcing services. And if you take any of the other aspects of it, it is the services which is primarily known in India. There are certain products, but then mostly it is known for services. Across the world also, the current trend is towards the services. Current focus is on services. We are all delivering services. Now, if you project this, I hope you can see the graph that I have projected. If you project it towards the differentiation and the value, the commodities do not command a lot of price, a lot of value. You cannot sell it in premium. I can go to any store and buy a coffee powder. There's not much of a difference. Maybe you can do a little bit of a packaging and all of that, but there's not much of a difference. And we come down to comparing prices. I'm sure all of you, whenever you want to buy something, you go to Amazon. Say, for example, you want to buy an iPhone or say, for example, an Android, any smartphone. You go to Amazon and you compare prices. You probably sort it on prices, and then you look for whatever that you can afford to. And this is true of. Anyone want to say anything? Okay. So if you see this, the commodity is, you cannot differentiate it, and because it is not differentiated, you cannot command so much of value. But as you progress in the cycle, as you progress in that particular economic value, you start to see you can command lot price because you can differentiate to a certain extent. And that's where you are able to command a good amount of price. And a lot of companies are focusing on services. There are a lot of consulting companies, even product companies are getting into consulting. If you see IBM, it was a product company, but then now it is completely services company because they can command a lot more premium on services rather than on products. So they are able to do that, right? Now, what are the factors that we are talking about in delivery of product or services? The first thing is scarcity. The mindset is something is scarce. It could be time, it could be money, it could be effort. Something is scarce. So say, for example, why outsourcing thrived? People think, I want this to be delivered yesterday. And then, like, I mean, if you have any experience in IT industry at all, you will see every time the client asks you, they will say, okay, I want it ASAP. I want it immediately, as early as possible. Why? Because the time is scarce. I want it to be done very fast. Otherwise, I will lose money. I will lose my customers. Something is scarce. And then, what is the pitch that we give? Indian outsourcing companies, what do we do? Hey, we can follow the sun model. When it is morning for you, it is night for us. So you can work, you can document, and you can give it to us. And when we wake up, you can go to sleep, and then we will work and we'll give it to you. So which means there is a continuity of the work. So there is a time saved. We save time for you, right? And how do we manage these two things? We automate. As much as possible, it is automated. Whether it is communication, whether it is packaging of the product, any of these things, we automate. And we automate so that, again, we can meet those two other criteria. We can meet the scarcity of time, we can meet the scarcity of money, and we can save time, right? So that is the primary principle. Now, if so, what's next? What are we going to talk about next? And the fact is, I'm not predicting, I'm not looking into a crystal ball and saying, hey, this is what's going to come in. I already see these trends coming up all the time. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Even during this pandemic, quite a few of these things have already started to come up. And I'm also going to give you examples even prior to that, how these things happen. So what's the next one? The next one is what we are talking about is experience. It is about staging experience. And you might say, hey, you know what, Joseph, we are talking about staging experience. It works only for, say, for example, Disney World, entertainment, and so on and so forth, which is true. But then a lot of companies are already embracing this particular model and delivering their services, products, and they are already gaining quite a lot of customer base. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples on that. But the point is, the next stage, next model, next level is experience, staging experience. So let's talk about that. Now, when we are talking about staging experience, what are the, I told you, until services, the factors that matter are scarcity. But in experience, we are talking about abundance. Now, today, if you are an entrepreneur, you already know. If you are a startup guy, you already know the money is available in plenty. Money is in abundance. Time, because of all the automation that we have done, time is available to people. And like, I mean, take this particular kind of event. Earlier, time would be a lot of scarce entity if we were to meet in person. But now, because we are all meeting online, again, the time is abundant. We have a lot of time now. So time somehow become an abundant entity. Money has become an abundant entity. Because of this, even the mindset is also shifting, saying, hey, how can I look at the world a little differently than looking at it as a scarce model? So if you look at it, because it's abundant, now I'm not looking at how can I save time. I'm looking at, I'm here, wherever I am, is it time well spent? Am I enjoying this time? It could be with my family, it could be with my partner, it could be with my friends, or it could be me alone. But are you able to hear me? I see somebody drawing.
You're audible, sir. You're audible. Yeah.
Yes. I see somebody drawing on this. So I thought maybe somebody is trying to take my, show me something. Okay, no problem. So if you see the, so experience is what I talked about. So individually, everybody wants to have this memorable experience. Can I have a memorable experience? Now let's talk certain examples here, right? Take coffee. A coffee bean, today none of us will go and harvest a coffee bean. Probably 100 years back, that's the way people had coffee. You will grow your own coffee seeds, coffee beans. But then from there we came into, we'll go and buy a coffee powder. I grew up in a house where we'll go buy a coffee powder, we will make coffee. Today, coffee is available in sachets. I put it into water and it is available. Or if I want to have it, I'll go to a shop nearby and I will have coffee. It's the same thing with cakes, right? Earlier, we will have to grow each of those things, commodity, but then we became to a point where we will bake cakes at home. If it's a, say for example, a birthday event for my kid, I will bake cake at home. Today, what are we doing? We hire a place and we'll go there. They will deliver the cake as well as a place and we will celebrate there. So that becomes a service, right? So this has been the growth. But what are the examples? I told you it's about memorable. You need to make them remember you. Your customers have to remember you. This is about one of my favorite entrepreneur / philosopher, Derek Sivers. He ran a company called CD Baby and then he sold it. And he talks about how he grew his company. And he says, even the smallest detail, if I can make people smile, that's the important point there. If I can make my customers smile, rest everything becomes an accessory. It doesn't matter. It's all fancy stuff. And he gives examples. You should go to this particular page. He gives example after example of how he makes his customers smile. And I'm giving one example here. This is about personalization. And today the technology is possible. We all have, say for example, I registered for this event. And this will send me an email saying that, hey, Joseph, this is the coordinate to join. But you know what Derek did? He said, CD Baby loves Joseph. And I get an email only from CD Baby in that particular format. Nowhere else. Nobody else sends me as saying, CD Baby loves Joseph. Say, for example, if it sends, Thai loves Joseph. Now it's going to make me stop and read that. It's going to bring a smile into my face, right? And he gives a couple of examples. And another example is somebody said, can you so in the order form, so like you have this Zoom event registration form, he will have an order form for CDs. In the order form at the end, he will have, do you have any specific request? One customer made, could you please send me a cinnamon gum? This was the actual request. Somebody put that in. Could you send me a cinnamon gum? And guess what? Derek Sivers sent him a gum along with the package of the CD. And he went and talked about it in his YouTube video, in his blog, everywhere. And that brought a lot of folks for his business. So the point is, are you bringing smile to your customers? That's the matter. That's the point that you need to understand. And it is possible because of personalization. You know, see, today I get a lot of calls. I'm sure, like, if we were in a hall today, if I ask you to raise your hands, how many of you get cold calls? Or even, say, for example, your bank. I have my account with, say, for example, ICICI Bank, and I get a call from ICICI Bank. Guess what? If, say, for example, I would have told them, I'm just going to take examples here, okay? So, say, for example, I tell them, I only know English and I don't want to talk to them in Hindi. Say, for example, take an example. Guess what? They do not record it. They will call me and they will start talking to me in Hindi. What do? I drop the call. They can't even record this and call me and say what needs to be done. Whereas I'm going to give you another example. When I was traveling around and when I was in Belgium, I was there for quite some time. I was calling a cab service, and the first time, obviously, they took all my details. Second time, when I called from a place near my home, they immediately recognized me and said, "Hello, Mr. Joseph, are you near your home? Do you need a cab?" That's it. I was surprised. I said yes, and then 5 minutes later, a cab was there. Are you making your customers smile? Are you making your customers stop and appreciate what you are doing? It could be the college. It could be the Chandigarh University. Many of you are from MBA and you are going to go and head a unit, maybe start your own business. The point is, when you come out there, it is going to be about experience economy. Or can you personalize your service so that people can stand up and say, hey, this company is different. This offer is different, and I'm going to take it. That is what experience economy. And because of the pandemic, a lot of schools have gone online. And what have they done? I have 2 kids and they are attending school every day. And what are they doing? It's a monologue. It's again on Zoom and it's on monologue. But whereas a Kerala school teacher, she brought out an AR, augmented reality, and brought in elements, elephants and globe and all of those things. And then she is teaching these kids, and these kids are all, very interested. So AR and VR is going to be one of the key components. This is my son in Kanyakumari. This is almost 2 years back, but still today he talks about this. Why? Because the experience that he had, he was sitting in that particular chair, the chair was moving, and you all have seen this VR kids, and there were water droplets dropping on him, giving an experience that he is actually driving through or going through a waterfall. He absolutely enjoyed it. He was screaming, yelling at his top of his pitch. And even today, when I ask, what is the trip that you enjoyed the most? He always talks about this particular trip. Are you able to give a smiling experience, a memorable experience to your customers? That is experience. Now you might ask, okay, Joseph, how is this any different from services? So Joseph Pine, he's the one who observed this trend, and he wrote a book, and he talks about this. And he has a book called Experience Economy. I recommend all of you to check it out, because this is going to be the what's going to come in the future. So I highly recommend you to go and read this particular book. And he talks about this. The successful experience economy companies, they use product as a prop, services as a stage, and bring in a memorable experience. And they are able to give it to individual customers. Unfortunately, today, let's take this particular case, right? Like, the Zoom call that we are having today. Unfortunately, I'm not able to know your individual people. Who is Pawan? Who is Rajni? who is individual people? What do you like? Do you like slides? Do you like video? Do you like to see a person and talk? I don't know. I don't have the technology to do it. But what if I had a technology by which, say, for example, Pawan says, hey, you know what? I like to see slides. And Abhishek says, I like to see a video. And I'm able to customize, I'm able to personalize it, and I'm able to give it. Now, in one extent, I have already done that in the name of calling your name. And I'm sure Mr. Pawan or Abhishek, maybe they did not expect me to call out their name, and maybe their attention was a little more and called their name, they would have immediately said, oh my God, my name is being called. That's the individual experience that we are able to offer today. But as we go along, the technology will grow to a certain extent that we can personalize our offering to every member so that everybody comes off and says, hey, I had a memorable experience. That's it. If you have any questions, let me know. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter or on my website, jjude.com. I'll be happy to talk about this or chat with you more. That's all I have. Hitesh?
Thank you so much, Joseph. It was an enlightening session, and we make the forum open for the students and faculty members if they have any questions to be asked. And it's a request to all the students, please don't draw any lines on the screen. Students or faculty members, if you have any questions that you want to ask Joseph, you are most welcome. We are waiting.
Yeah. Joseph sir, good evening. Dr. Abhishek Tripathi here.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Was just listening to the things and just wanted to know, like, what do you think? Like, because we have been working on this, how we can make things more personal? Because see, I'll tell you what, there are diverse kind of people. Like, there is anything which is made, like it is made keeping crowd in the mind, right? So how it can be made more personal? Do we need some analytics, or do we need some further kind of software or something like that? Or there is already existing something which can change this thing? Like, how these experiences can be made more personal?
Yeah, you are right, Dr. Abhishek, in the sense that you need a lot more data and analytics, and the computational powers are available today. And this is one example I always give. See, we have this mobile phone in our hands, right? The computational power that is available in the mobile and the memory that is available in the mobile is much more than the computer that launched man into the moon, right? Much more. What are we doing with this? Probably we are taking a selfie and posting it on Instagram and Twitter or Facebook. But the data is, the computational power is available. The memory is available. So take Amazon, for example. 2 times, 3 times you go. So the first few times, it doesn't know anything about you. But subsequently, it learns what you like. So the products that are shown to you is very different from the products which are shown to Mr. Pavan Kumar, right? Or to Mr. Hitesh, or to me. The products, it is category, the recommendation works according to that. Yes. So you are right. We need a lot more data. So as we go along, we will see quite a lot of this data and analytics. So, like, I mean, your university should probably focus more on providing data and this. The other aspect is, as I said, see, this has more power and it is only going to increase. And we are already talking about 5G, which is going to, again, increase the communication bandwidth. So then probably every lamppost could be a server. And as I travel along, because it's a 5G, the data can communicate. It doesn't have to go to the cloud. It doesn't have to go to San Francisco or Mumbai. The communication is between the lamppost and my car or my phone as I travel along. And they can exchange. Some computation can happen on the lamp, some computation can happen on my mobile. And it will give me, hey, there is a there is an accident here, there is a diversion here, there is a coffee shop which you like, it is here, and it can give me recommendations. That's what we are talking about, and it is going to come in. And whichever company is going to tap it, they are going to take the biggest pie of the business.
Now, one more, just subsequent question which arose in my mind when I was thinking about the reply from your side. Like, do you think, after getting all this data and after going through all these analytics, do you really think the human part of it will be missing, or like it will be more number based, or it will be more maybe I'll tell you what. I'll just give an example. For example, in Amazon, like I'm looking for some shirt, and then like a couple of times I search for a shirt, then I'll get same kind of searches and same kind of things coming into me. Like maybe I've already purchased my shirt and I'm not looking for shirt anymore. So like, can we have that filter as well in the coming time, or like what will be the future of this? Like, do we will have some human aspect related to this, or it will be just pure what we are having?
Yeah. So that's the difference between the service and experience. Today, because it is focused on service, so what happens is companies are looking at themselves and saying, what is in it for me? So they are pushing you. You bought a shirt, they will ask you for a shirt. Like they will show you shirt, right? As if you're going to start a retail store on shirts, or any other aspect that you're talking about, right? Huggies, if you purchase, next day they will show you another Huggies, right? So that's because they look at themselves and say, okay, what can I sell more? As soon as that flips and says, how can I give a memorable experience to the customer? Even today, the data is available, right? As soon as they flip it and then say, how can I give a memorable experience to a customer? It will all change. The technology is already existing, as I told you. And I'm sure, you are getting, you are calling so many of the services company, let's say, for example, bank, maybe Ola, maybe any other thing, and you will hear this saying, your call may be recorded for quality purposes. Tell me, probably like, I mean, you are as old as me, probably you are hearing this for 10 years. Has quality improved? Has anyone listened to this particular call? Technology is available. As I said, I have experienced this. They will record my name, they will record my preferences. When I call next time, they will call me by my name and talk to me in the language that I tell them to talk. But none of the banks are able to do it. Because why? They think of themselves. They say, hey, you know what? If I put 40 rupees per call, I mean, say for example, 10 rupees per call, and I hire, there are a ton of people available to call. I mean, if somebody is in Gujarat, he should be a Gujarati. Don't worry. I mean, not Hindi, not English, Gujarati. I mean, bother them with Gujarati, right? If somebody is in Kerala, bother them with Malayalam and not Hindi, right? But this technology is already available today. Just that people are not bothered. Companies are not bothered. And guess what? They are going to, like Paytm, they came from nowhere and took off the customer base of these large banks. And it's going to happen, right? So whoever understands the customer pain points and able to offer a memorable experience to the customers, they are going to take out, the technology is already available and it's only going to grow. And they're going to take the biggest pie of this.
Thank you, Joseph. There is another question from Ms. Neha Sharma. She wants to know how to stage experiences.
I am sure, Ms. Neha, you have gone to Starbucks, right? If you go to Starbucks, what's the difference between any other coffee shop where I can go and get a coffee for 10 rupees? Why am I willing to spend 100 rupees in Starbucks? It is that experience. So their product is the coffee. The service is the stage, but they are able to address you by your name and they are able to give you what you like. That staging. And I gave you an example. So I took up a service in a cab. As soon as I picked up the call, I dialed. As soon as I picked up my call, they had my mobile number. They knew my name. They knew where I was because of the location. They knew where I was. And they knew which language I speak. That's it. They said, hello, Mr. Joseph, glad to have you. And do you need a cab near your house? Yes, that staging experience. So they have the product, car, cab, that's their product. Their services, booking services, that's a service. That is the staging experience. Staging experience is always about two things. Is it personalized to the customer, not to the company? Is it personalized to the customer? And does it bring a memorable smile to the customer? That's all. If a company brings it, you will have a staging experience. I'm going to give you another example. 2 years back, I was driving from my hometown near Kanyakumari to Bangalore. And obviously, we need to stop nearby for food. And it was a roadside shop. They had a hotel, their product, and they were serving idlis and sambars and dosas. We thought maybe about 15-20 minutes. We said, we need to drive for 8 hours. Quick, guys, all of us have to eat very fast. 15 minutes, we need to be out. Guess what? We were there for 1.5 hours. Why? Because the owner came in, talked to us. What do you like? Where are you from? Hey, you would not have eaten this. This is very new. You should taste this. We tasted it. Kids loved it. They had more. And we spent 1.5 hours. I wrote about it in my blog. You can read it in my blog. Delightful experience on the roadside. That is how you stage experience. You, as I said, you need to look at from the customer's point of view and able to bring a smile to them. That is staging experience. I hope I have answered your question, Ms. Nega.
Yep. One question from my side. First of all, let me appreciate and thank you for this wonderful session. And it's indeed a transition which we are having from a product-oriented sort of mindset to a service-oriented mindset. Now, Joseph, do you also see sort of a reason for this in our planning and our education system? We still call people product managers, not service managers when they are doing it, and in MBA curriculum also, and we are also sort of a part of it where we had these programs here. So we have a lot of data and maths driven curriculum, but less of humanistic and experience oriented training of the students. So do you also see a connect between how we are training our graduates and then eventually the expectations what they are having at the workplace?
Absolutely. I'm assuming you are Dr. Pavan and not Mr. Pavan. Dr. Pavan?
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but yeah, I'm director here in the department. I'm
okay.
Yeah.
So should I call you Mr. Pavan?
You can call me Pavan. That's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Pavan, you touched upon the 2 points there. One is the humanities, which is missing from the computer curriculum, software curriculum for a very long time. I graduated 25 years back. I didn't have humanities in my curriculum. That's absolutely must, because without humanities, without psychology, without liberal arts, I will not be able to understand another human.
Yeah.
We are I accept as a software guy, I am happy to talk to my machine 8 hours a day. But Hitesh calls me in 10 minutes. I am like, oh, I want to go back to the coding. Why? Because I don't have the skills and the ability to engage in a conversation with others. So we are only looking at data. Okay, I'm looking at numbers, right? And then I'm saying, oh, these are the numbers. What is my top line? What is my bottom line? I need to bring my top line or bottom line. That's all. We are looking at it all the time. Is my customer happy? Did I bring a smile in my customer? That is not reflected in the numbers. Eventually it will be. That's how Zappos happened, Starbucks happened, Amazon is happening. Eventually it will get reflected. But we are looking at a very short-term view, and then we are looking at it. You are absolutely right. We need to train our guys on humanities. And the other aspect is ethics. Today, we are not talking about ethics at all in our software curriculum. Tomorrow, autonomous cars come in. Ethics is going to play a huge role there, right? Now, say, for example, we are talking about, as I told you, personalization. Should I have data, all of my data stored somewhere, exposed to everybody in the company? Or should there be a program to mask all of the data, but only the models work? That has to be there. We have to talk about it. That ethics will have to be taught. So you are absolutely right. This is the right time you need to talk about it. Okay. And I am already seeing, and I'm answering your another question, the first question that you had. We are already seeing certain companies having chief experience officers, because it's becoming needed. Like all the other other chief officers, they are also starting to have experience officers. And I'm sure, I hope Chandigarh University becomes a pioneer in it, but then, I'm sure over the period, universities will have experience officers.
Yeah. It is an experience. In fact, if some student is here for a couple of years, it has to be an experience. It cannot be just a tangible or a sort of a hard product. Yeah.
Absolutely. People have to come back to you, and then, say for example, I studied in this university, and when my kids come in, I should be able to say, hey, I had a fantastic experience there. That was 25 years back. I'm sure it has improved a lot. I want to send my kid to this university again. That's when we are talking about experience.
Just a quick last question from my side. Is it, though I think technology has solved the problem to some extent, but still wanted to know your opinion. We moved from a smaller economy to a mass production economy where we were producing for masses. And now we are again talking about customization, right? And not masses. So is it not a contradiction to our approach, and is it not a cost-wise disincentive for a company to go at an individualized level than a mass level?
Very valid question and pertinent question, and I can talk about this for an hour. Okay. So but I'm going to give a short answer to this. Because of technology, so earlier it used to be mass customization, right? So say for example, again, Mr. Hitesh, Abhishek, and all of us should be of the same age. When we were young, we'll go to the tailor shop and stitch our dresses.
Yeah.
Then came what we are used to now, shirts. We go and take the shirts, 42, 40, and it may fit us, it may not fit us. Some of us have, one little bit of a longer hands, but we adjust to it, right? But what if there is a technology which is coming in? I think Bombay Dyeing, they have a customization product. You can go customize to the extent that you want, even with the name engraved at the back of your collar. To that extent, technology is possible today. I'm sure you can print books on your own. If you go and say, okay, I want a book, they'll print it and send it to you. What if, as an author, you can put your signature with the name of the person? Hey, Joseph, I'm happy to, like, say, for example, Mr. Pavan, you have written a book and I order. At the time of ordering, you take my name and you are able to engrave and say, affix and say, hey, Joseph, have a fantastic time reading this, Pavan.
Yeah.
That's personalization. This technology is available today. So yes, you are right. We went from individual one to mass customization, but then we are coming back into personalization because of the technology growth. And that's the answer.
Thank you very much.
So thank you so much, Professor Pawan Kumar, for joining us. And the way you were interacting with Joseph, it has clearly showed all of us that one should have insatiable curiosity to learn new things. Or in other words, if we want to truly experience this experience economy, we should have a child syndrome in us.
Yes, definitely. And it's my pleasure. I'm interacting with Joseph. So it's a wonderful platform. Just to share, I have also joined TIE 2 days back as a chartered member. So maybe we'll meet more often in one of the events.
Most welcome, Professor Pawan, to TIE Chandigarh family also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hitesh. First of all, like this was one of those sessions where I believe this was one of those enlightening sessions, where we came to know about something very much related to our department, where we are training our students to develop themselves into professionals who can be techno managers in the future. So it was excellent session. I would like to thank Mr. Hitesh Kumar Gulati sir, co-chair industry outreach and sponsorship, TIE Chandigarh. Mr. Joseph Jude, cannot thank you more than what I want. This means it was a brilliant session, sir. Our speaker of the day and Chief Technical Officer, Net Solution, Mr. Sanjay, Senior Executive, TIE Chandigarh, and also our guiding light, Professor Pawan Kumar, sir, Additional Director, Chandigarh University. We are looking for further kind of these sessions, further sessions on similar topics, or like more enlightening topics, or like more progressive and more techno managerial topics. And thank you, Hitesh sir, for giving us this opportunity to tie up with you for this event. And thank you. It was a brilliant session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abhishek. In fact, I'm thankful to you because without your consent, we could have not taken it forward. So thanks to you, thanks to Pawan sir and Joseph ji for joining us. And
can I take 30 seconds more if you allow?
We have enough time, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So two things. One, thanks to our speaker of the day. We use both our hearts and brains. So that was the sort of side from my side about your session. It was engaging and cognitive as well. Now, my message to the students, I hope you would have really, understood what the theme of the session was, or the message of the session was. One, you would have noticed Mr. Joseph is the technology officer, chief technology officer, and yet he was talking more about the business management and the experience sharing. So, I have been talking about this point in many of my previous sessions also, that if you want to be a good manager, learn good technology. And if you want to be a good technology person, then, understand human behavior better. So that's the combination, which is the recipe of success or business these days. Second, because this session was not intended, it was intended to impart a learning. What I would give you as a short assignment from my side, since you have understood with some examples that we need to create experiences out of our products and services. So I would request all the students to go back today and pick up any business which you have traditionally thought as a product business and not as a service business, and try to identify some points in that product where you can put experience for the customer. For example, pick up car as a product and think about what could be elements where of service engagement or customer engagement in that. Write down 5, 7, 10 points and try to pick up as odd product as possible, which doesn't even sound like service at all. So this would be a real, summary and a revision of what you have learned from this session. And probably if you do this, you'll be able to implement it in your careers later on. So Abhishek, track this assignment. Let's see how many do it.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Pawan, it would be very interesting to see the case studies that the students are preparing, converting that services into experience. I mean, I would be very happy to come along on one session like this, even to listen to students presenting it, or talking to the students on that.
That's a great gesture. So now, students, you have a sort of a prize on this. So if you do it well, you get to meet Mr. Joseph and have one-on-one sort of guidance from him. So let's see how many of you do it and do it well. Pick up the products and try to convert it into a experience oriented business product or a service. And we'll screen the best ones and we'll share with you, sir, and we'll see how we can get it more engaged.
Wonderful.